Hello, my name is Hannah Hogan, and I am part of the Big Mac Advisory Group with Logan McLeod and Andrew Jenkins. We were brought onto the team to explore the option of gamification of training for your firm, which we have been exploring for the past few weeks. We were able to obtain survey results over gamified training from a comparable firm in order to analyze to see what our recommendation would be. Looking at the data, it appeared as though there were three main questions we could explore. Does gamification of training lead to more engagement from employees during the training? Does gamification rank higher with employees than traditional training? And does gamification of training increase the effectiveness of the training? However, we also wanted to be sure to include other perspectives that you may want to explore surrounding your objectives around training. Looking beyond the data provided, we came up with questions such as, does gamification lead to stronger performance at work? How dependent is the effectiveness of training on what the employee thinks of it? What has been the success of peers with gamification of training? Has it led to reduction in information security issues for them? Does gamified training increase knowledge retention around information security concepts? And does gamified training lead to an improvement from previous scores from other types of training? We first wanted to tackle the question of employee engagement, since we understand that this is a concern of yours. Part of the survey included a look at both positive and negative traits that were rated on an anchored scale, 1 being gamified, 4 being neutral, and 7 being traditional. Here, we have broken those answers down and separated them into positive and negative in order to make the results more clear. As you can see, on average, gamification was more associated with positive traits and traditional with negative. Although both answers do hover close to the same ranking. This leads us to conclude that gamification of training does lead to more engaged employees. They have more positive connotations with the gamified training than with traditional, and think less of it being boring and a waste of time. We then began to look at if that meant that the employees actually enjoyed the training more. Although it was ranked positively, does that mean that it also ranks positively against other types of training besides traditional? Survey respondents were also asked to rank their preference for the next training, with 1 being most preferred and 5 being least preferred. It is clear from this that our answer is that gamified training does rank higher with employees compared to other methods, including lecture, online voice, written, and other methods. After that, we began to look at whether the gamified training increased the effectiveness of the training itself. Participants were asked to rate their agreement for the accomplishments of learning objectives, from 1, strongly disagree, to 7, strongly agree. Shown here, it is clear that gamified training was able to accomplish those learning objectives. Nearly all responses were somewhat agree or higher, with better performance being the only one that does not explicitly agree. However, what is not clear is how these results compare to traditional training methods. To complete our assessment, we would need to be able to collect data that facilitates that comparison. That could include using a ranking scale similar to the one we saw with positive and negative traits. That would allow us to more fully conceptualize how gamified training compares to traditional training in terms of effectiveness. After training, participants were asked to complete a knowledge test to determine the accomplishment of knowledge retention.